Okay, so what I ended up doing was I took off these yellow tabs. I thought I was going to be able to just put the wire in there and squeeze it, but I got this wire here, and it seemed to be the right size, you know. Might be just a little small. So when I squeezed it down, I didn't really get a good connection. So what I did was I just pulled them all off and soldered it, squeezed it down the best I could. You really got to crank down on them with a big pair of pliers. So I'm just going over the solder again. I figured I'd show you what I'm doing. Just solder it on, but then came back and checked it a couple times. Put about a drop on there, and then while it's hot, you can move it around, smooth it out, shape it so it goes where you want it to. You know, blow on it so it hardens up. Don't breathe the smoke. That's lead. You don't want to be breathing that stuff. That smoke there. And even after it hardens, if it doesn't look right, you can melt it again and move it around. Okay. I've been soldering a lot of wires. I was in music for years, 8 years or more, and lots of music equipment, guitars and stuff. I'm no expert at this, but it works. I'm sure there's more professional ways to do it, but you just need a good connection. See how that, I just put a little bit more on there so it looks a little neater. Wait for it to harden up. See how that one is just, the wire is soldered there, but it doesn't look like it. It might not hold good, so I'm just going back over them and fooling around with it basically. I think there is a time when it gets too hot. This thing gets too hot and it doesn't want to, it just burns the solder instead of. Okay, so that looks a lot better than what I had. That one needs some work. That's actually the same roll of solder I had at the music store. That's how much I solder. Yeah, and that was back in the 90s. I think I used more on the truck than I did back then. A couple of guitar wires here. Ooh, don't touch hot solder. I think I used more on the truck than I did at the store. Okay, so this soldering gun is real neat. I think I talked about it in one of the other videos. It's wireless. It works off butane. This thing just turns the flame off and on. The butane comes out the top. That's just a little stand because after it's hot, you know, you can just stand it up so you don't burn your table. And then I just got the butane at Lowe's. that just squirts in the top to fill it up. Just squirts in the top to fill it up. It's like filling up a cigarette lighter. Might not be a good idea to fill up a hot one. So we'll wait on that. I do plan on doing a separate video on this, but I found it on Amazon. It's made by Isotip, and what I like about it is it's made in the USA, made in Wisconsin. You can get all types of tips for it if you're into that type of thing. I don't know why you'd need other tips, but they must make them for some reason. It says here, world's most popular pocket-sized butane. I don't know if I'd carry it in my pocket. Up to 750 degrees. Oh geez, torch temperature 2400. Wow. Okay. It's nice because you don't have to fight with the wires. You know, as you set these down, the wires flopping all over the table, and you gotta fight with the wire. So it's nice to have a butane one. Okay. Okay, so I got these connected. I'm presuming when these are off. Let's see. That's gotta be like that. I'm presuming when these are off, the power will come in here, and then I'm presuming when I flip it on, the power is going to go out here to the camera. So that's where these little guys come in. See, this one, this red one here, goes to the camera, this one goes to the ground. So this should go on here like this, and then this will plug into the cord that goes to the camera. Okay. So the first one's for the monitor. So the first camera will be number 2. So this red one will go here. Okay, so next I need a hole in this side. The video cables will come in through here. So I'll go and use one of those spades to make a hole here. It's gonna have to be a pretty big hole because these have to come through it. So I'll actually have 4 of these coming through that hole. I don't want to make it too big. It'll let a lot of dust and dirt through there. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I went with a 1-inch hole. I took 2 cords and I tried it on a scrap piece of wood, so I can easily fit the cords inside there. And it's big enough, but it's not huge, so I'm sure I can get one more in there. Let's try it just to be safe. Okay, so there's 5. Okay, so next thing I want to do is these things. This wire is really small, so I bought some other wire, and I watched a video on YouTube on the guy connected a small one. The guy connected a small one to a bigger one and used heat shrink to go around that to make that nice and sturdy, and then use this part so you got something to work with. So that's the next step. These are just really small. Okay, so the next step is these things. This thing connects to the camera. See, like, that's the camera. This connects to here. And then this one will go to the toggle switch, and this one goes to the ground. So these wires are really small. I mean, you can barely see them. So what I'm going to do is use this wire. This is 16 gauge. And I'm going to connect this red wire to here, and then use heat shrink on there to strengthen that up. I watched a real nice video on YouTube where the guy showed how to do that. He said in case you run into these, and so I'll do it with the red one, and I'll do the same thing with the black one. This wire is 16 gauge, and then this will go to the toggle switch. Okay. Okay, so now I made 5 of these. Just short red wires with these things on them. I just squeeze them on. I'm going to solder them next. See, these will go on here. And then this wire, that red one will go there. And then that goes into the camera. Then I got to figure out a way to ground it. Okay, so next I'm going to solder these. Instead of going over to the tool bench, I just do them right here. See, you can tell how much fluid is in this. You can see it's. See, you can tell how much fluid is in there. You can see it splashing around in there. It's still full, and I've been using it forever, so it doesn't take much at all. So to fire this thing up, see, it's off now. You push up and over, and you can hear it hissing out of there, and then spark it. Come on. You can tell when it takes because you can see that little flame coming out of there. On the package here, it says ready to use in 20 seconds. Okay. There's different types of solder. Just go to the electronics store and tell the fella which one you need. This solder goes back to like mid 90s or even early 90s, maybe even like 1989. And I just bought it at Radio Shack. It has lead in it, and I think it's got that other stuff in there too. I forget what they call it, but it's like an all-in-one solder. There's different types of solder for pipes, solder for electrical. So this is solder for electrical. Just tell the fellas what you're doing so you don't buy the wrong one. Doing it on a plastic thing might not be all that great either, but yeah. Don't breathe the freedoms. Can you tell I'm an expert at soldering? I'm just heating up the wire a little bit. Get a lot on there and then smooth it around a little bit. So the soldering fumes go out. Don't breathe that lead. It's coming off there. That smoke right there. Should wait for it to cool down as much as possible so you don't break the connection. think that'll do. I think that'll do. Nice and solid. That one's still hot. Okay, and to turn this off, just flip that over, put it down. Okay, and that's hot for a long time. That's hot for a long time, probably a half hour or so. So just set it aside somewhere. See here, it's got this little stand that flips down. So just take it and set that aside for a while. Okay, so one of these is going to go to the monitor. So let's see here. This one will go to the monitor. This would, so on the harness, these two wires, this red one, if you remember the diagram, this wire here is this guy. So it goes to the toggle, goes to the fuse, and then this goes to the battery. So I think we can do that one now. See ya. Bye.